Hello, Gemini. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using The Muse Tarot by Chris Ann. On the back of the book, I have some websites if you're interesting, huh? At the bottom, you can see chris-ann with an e.com or themusetarot.com. Feel free to freeze frame and check out those if you want to, of course. Supportive Oracle Cards, Wisdom of the Hidden Realms Oracle Cards by Colette Baron Reed. Websites, let's see. That paragraph with Colette's picture at the bottom of it, you can see ColetteBaronReed.com. There's a couple others if you want to freeze frame and check those out at the bottom. There's also about the illustrator, Jenna. I'll just slowly move that, so if you want to freeze frame and read through that if you're so interested, feel free. Also a couple of websites at the bottom if you want to check those out. Okay, what do we have for Gemini? I've had this run through my head before, like Gemini, Gemini, Gemini. I don't know where that's coming from. It's funny, but I don't know where it's coming from. Gemini. That sounds fun. I hope you all having fun. Okay. It's funny, I just did that Gemini thing, but now I'm like getting a vision of like a very serious Gemini who does not let themselves have fun, which I always thought Geminis were fun. So maybe that's a misconception on my part, but I always think of Geminis as a lot of fun. I don't know where that's coming in from, but anyway, you don't have to be fun to be a Gemini. I'm not trying to pigeonhole that, but you know, it just seems to me like Geminis are usually fun. What are we dealing with? The continuation of something that really works for you. Okay. This is a Sun card. Something really good. This started off with a great moment. Gemini likes to have some fresh... You like things to stay fresh. I think that's the best way to put it. So it's kind of like, if you think of fresh fruit, it only stays fresh for so long, you know, and you gotta like eat it or throw it out. If you have a plant that's producing fresh fruit, the plant itself can be your connection to it, but you probably will tend to it and prune it and do different things with it to keep it interesting. When I think of fresh fruit in Gemini, to keep the situation interesting, it might not be that you have to change the plant or change, you know, when you use the fruit. Like if you keep getting the same fruit, you keep getting strawberries, I can see how that would get very boring very quickly for Gemini, but it's like, what can I do with these strawberries to keep them entertaining? I can see Gemini mixing strawberries with carrots just to spice it up a bit and see what would happen. I can see, I don't know, you can tell me I'm wrong, but I can see like, just to be different, like, let's see if I can make these two different flavors work. Can I make that happen? Because if anybody could find a way for it to work, it would be Gemini that would find a way for it to work. So whatever this was, we're starting off with something, it's like a base, like fresh fruit, like fresh strawberries. It started off with that, and it was great when you started, and it's kind of like I've done it for a while, and like now I'm considering changing. And what do I want? But the thing is, I want to keep what was working, and I want to change to something different. But it's kind of like I'm kind of sick of fresh fruit. Ugh. So it's kind of like, it's not just about changing from strawberries to bananas or strawberries to oranges or whatever, apples, whatever you want. It's not about just changing to that, but it's kind of like maybe I've worked with fresh fruit for so long, even though that's working for me and I'm getting a lot of benefits from it and I'm liking it, I'm kind of like I'm getting like to the end of my rope with it. I'm still enjoying it, but I know that it's coming where I'm going to want to change this because it's not going to last for me forever. But I'm not really sure. I'm not really pulled towards anything else. There's other things that have your interest, but nothing strong enough to really lock you in. Okay, this is good. We got good stuff here. So, how do I keep what I want, yet still keep it lively for me? There's energy here. I'm just trying to understand, like, because you're considering moving on from something, but maybe you won't. That's the thing. Four of Pentacles reversed. That's kind of letting something go. And then the Chariot card, half in, half out. Part of I feel like I want to let go of this, yet it's still successful for me. I feel like that's what might be here for you. Like, I know I'm successful with this. I know it's working. But with the Earth connection here for Gemini, I feel like you might kind of have that feeling like it's getting kind of boring. Even though currently it's still working, and currently you can still work with it, I feel like you know yourself well enough to kind of like, yeah, but it won't be forever. So I don't want to like run it into the ground to the point where like I've used it so much that now I can't stand strawberries. Like, I don't want to go from the part where I love strawberries to the point where I've had them so much that now I can't stand them because I've had them so much. And I feel like you're addressing that within yourself. You're trying to like find a way, like, what do I need to do to keep benefits yet change this situation, or maybe like switch over to something else. Because when I keep feeling strawberries, it's like whatever you were using it for. It's not only the flavor and the thing itself, it's the benefits you're getting from it. So maybe it's the vitamin. I think of it when strawberries are by themselves. I think of them as a lower calorie food personally. So maybe that's something. So maybe you made that like a staple or something, or maybe you made that like, instead of having like an ice cream or a high calorie dessert, you were just like doing things with strawberries, and you were just made sure you kept it low calorie, and you were just kept using strawberries as your dessert. That way, you wouldn't think about it. You would just do that. You would get your body would get its satisfaction, and you would move on. It's all about why. Why did this situation work for you? What was the thing that kept you with it? So I think that's why we're using strawberries. Okay. And I feel like I don't want to lose that connection, but I don't want to run it into the ground to the point where I'm like, I just can't stand to look at it anymore. It worked in the beginning. Again, when you first found it, it worked for a while. It worked in the beginning. I'm getting like maybe sometimes you paired it with dark chocolate, because dark chocolate I think is lower calorie. Don't quote me on that. Maybe depending on how you create it. I know if you use like erythritol and dark chocolate, I feel like that's, or erythritol, and, you know what I mean. You found a way to make it work. And maybe you had different ways of mixing it together with other things just to keep it fairly lively, but so you just kept using the same thing. It worked in the beginning. It's still currently working, but I feel like that like, yeah, there's a shelf life here, and I don't want to run it into the ground. I don't know why I'm giving another analogy, but we'll do it. Maybe even sometimes you had them fresh out of the fridge. Maybe other times you froze them and you mashed them up, and that was another way that you just enjoyed it being a little different. I don't know. You had ways to do things. I don't know why we keep giving analogies, other than it's Gemini. Gemini has 1,000,001 ways to do things. Just to start, just to name a few. You're trying to reinforce this to the point where you won't lose it, you won't use it up, but you still can continue on your success in a different way. Some of you, it might be the strawberries were a point of a vitamin, a certain vitamin you wanted, something like that. It's just an analogy, you know how that works. How are you anchoring this in? I see you anchoring it in a different way, but how is it coming in? Because I feel like maybe I've developed this far enough that now I'm going to start connecting a different way with something else. It may even be like switching over to a totally different subject. Like maybe instead of doing fresh fruit, maybe I'm finding something else that's lower calorie that can suffice that dessert feeling. I'm trying to understand where you're going with this, but I'm surprised I'm not seeing it yet. Because I see you reevaluating it and rebalancing it out a different way, but you have to find your own way to bring it together. What is your new angle? What is your new angle? Because I feel like I'm putting the strawberries away, but I'm not getting rid of them. I will bring them in at a certain time. It's like it's almost like I have it in a certain spot, and when I go to check things, like every now and then I see it and I'll bring it back in when I want to, but I feel like I'm not going to let it go. I am going to change to something else though. But it's kind of like maybe you're going back to something else that worked in the past too. And I feel like maybe I've tried this same approach with something else. It could have been a different fruit. It could have been a vegetable for all I know. Gemini is very wondrous. Gemini would be the one that could turn a vegetable into a dessert. You guys could easily do that. Maybe that's not as rare as I think it is, but y'all could do it. Y'all, if there's anybody could do it, it'd be a Gemini that could do it. Because I feel like you're putting this in your toolbox, but you're pulling something else from the past back in, and you're like, I made this success with the strawberries. I wonder if I could make that success happen with something else that I've tried before and didn't work out so well. Because I think that's what you're doing. The success you had with the strawberries, you're applying to different things. And again, you might be looking at a vegetable. It's like, well, that was fruit. I wonder if I could do this something similar with a vegetable. I just want to try it. I just want to see if I can make it happen. Anything is possible. Because I see you going forward, and I see other people looking at you like you're completely random, and they're looking at Gemini like, have you lost your mind? And you're like, absolutely not. I know exactly what I'm doing. You are restabilizing something for yourself, and you are making something very interesting for you. You have people looking at you like you have two heads, though. I wouldn't let that bother you, because I don't think you're doing anything that's wrong, but I do feel like you're restructuring something to make it more lively. That might sustain you for a while. Because whatever the subject is, it's more about your process, and you keep reapplying it in different ways. I do see you getting long-term success with this. With that Ten of Pentacles, long-term success. The universe is trying to give you different ways to keep what you want and just do it in different ways. Other people are looking at you like you're crazy. I feel like some of you are putting chocolate on broccoli, and I keep seeing it, and I'm like, I am not putting chocolate on broccoli myself, but if you got to do that, I would look at you like you're crazy. I would. I wouldn't judge you in the sense of like there's anything wrong, but I would like, I would be floored. I would be floored. Maybe that's something that's more prevalent than I know of, but I think the idea of chocolate on broccoli is just kind of blowing my mind. I'm like, I can't see me liking that. But I can also see Gemini, I'm like, well, it's not just pure chocolate. I added some of this in, I put some of that in, and you just tie it in right, and you cook it the right way, and you'd be surprised. Gemini would be the one who could do it. I'm telling you, Gemini would be the one who could do it. Because other people are looking at you like you are crazy, but you are proving to them that you can make something work that they could never make work. It's kind of like if Gemini, I don't really think I have a Gemini friend currently, but if I had one, and they were like, you know what, I know this looks crazy, but try it, let's see what happens. And I'm like, I would probably try it just because of them being a Gemini. Maybe that's wrong, but that's true. I'd be like, well, Gemini, if anybody's going to make it happen, it would be Gemini. I would give it a shot. You're reevaluating, you're realigning something, and people are looking at you like you're nuts, but you're not. Keep going with it. Keep going with it, because I feel like it's harmless. People might be questioning your sanity. Just prove that you still have it. Keep going. You have something moving forward. You're trying to take something that you knew was going to become boring. You're changing it up, taking the same process and applying it to a place where other people are like, Gemini, that doesn't fit. And you're like, well, watch, I'm going to make it fit. And I feel like you're impressing people. That's one of the things that really is a beauty of Gemini, in my opinion. You do things that people just did not see coming. And I feel like that's really one of the gifts of Gemini. Keep going. Be that success. Is there anything else? That was an interesting little trip there, because even I was like, where are we going with this? Yeah, people are going to align with you afterwards. After you've gone through the struggle, and after you've gone through, I don't know how long of people looking like you're crazy, and then all of a sudden people will just all of a sudden align with you as if it was their idea. Make sure people remember that it was your idea first. I mean, if they're going to look at you like you're crazy for a little while, they at least should remember that you're the one who brought it in, so you're the one who deserves that recognition for successes too. Make sure they remember you. Make sure they remember, like, remember when you thought I was crazy? Apparently I wasn't. I'm successful. Keep that in there too. I think that's what that last roll of the dice was about, because it's kind of like you're bringing success in a way that they were totally not expecting. Keep going. All right. I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.